Tonight we are following up 10 years after the deadly crash that killed the Flight for Life pilot and severely injured the 2 flight nurses on board. This was in Frisco on this day in 2015.
Less than a minute after takeoff, the helicopter came crashing down and caught fire almost immediately while the 3 crew members were inside. Today, the community gathered to remember Patrick Mahaney at a park named in his honor in the exact spot where the crash happened.
Denver 7's Daniel Kreuter sat down with one of the nurses who was on board.
In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of the winter, we remember him.
Sitting in this beautiful place.
I don't really remember much about that day.
And in the warmth of the summer, we remember him.
I think maybe that's my brain's way of protecting me still.
It's hard to even imagine what took place here 10 years ago.
Obviously had something go catastrophically wrong on takeoff, and we ended up crashing not too far from the spot where we're sitting right now.
Hard to imagine, but impossible to forget. Dave Repsher was a flight nurse on board that Flight for Life helicopter.
You know, I knew how severely injured I was, and you know, I kind of, before they sedated me, there was a big question mark of what my future was going to be.
Also on board was flight nurse Matthew Bowe, who survived, but the pilot, Patrick Mahaney, died after the crash.
He was our longest standing, most senior pilot for several years.
Patrick was described as relentlessly cheerful and a beloved community member.
What do you think his legacy will be?
You know, right now, I think it's one that we can reflect on is change. As terrible as that day was, is that this really marked a pivotal moment for change in the industry for safety.
Patrick's death inspired federal legislation requiring all helicopters to have fuel tanks that prevent fires after a crash happens. A hero who saved lives before and even after his own ended. A legacy that will never be forgotten as families continue to visit the Mahaney Heroes Park.
It's, important for obviously a lot of people in this community because he was such a strong figure and what he meant to the industry and everyone else. And so I think, what they did here and made such a beautiful park, this will live on in, perpetuity for his spirit.
In Frisco.
For as long as we live, he too shall live, as we remember him.
I'm Danielle Kreuter, Denver 7.
If you're interested in visiting the Mahaney Heroes Park, it's right behind the Common Spirit St. Anthony Summit Hospital in Frisco.
Now, looking closer here, Dave Repsher's incredible story of survival was captured in an award-winning documentary. And we told you about D-Rep Fight for Life when it was released back in 2021. I encourage you, scan that QR code there in the bottom left of your screen. You can revisit the story. You can also find a link to that film. The documentary was created by filmmakers Mike Mazzanti and Jeff Koslowski. It chronicles Dave's 397-day hospital stay and his grueling recovery, and also the community's support.
It's hard for me to even put into words just how much support I had. It was humbling, and I think they just told a beautiful story.
It was the last thing I thought about before I went to bed and the first thing I thought about when I woke up, their story.
The documentary took more than a year to complete, and it won the 43rd Denver Film Fest's People's Choice Award for Best Short.